A radish takes about 30 days. That single fact quietly wrecks the biggest excuse new gardeners give themselves, that it's too late to bother this year. Because if a radish can go from seed to harvest in a month, so can 8 other vegetables sitting on this list with it. Baby spinach, cress, tatsoi, pea shoots, all fast, all happy in a container, all ready long before the weather turns. You do not need a garden bed or a green thumb or a head start you already missed. You need 1 pot and about 4 weeks. These are the 9 that beat the clock. The reason this whole list works comes down to one thing. You are not waiting for a plant to grow up, flower, and fruit. That is the slow part of gardening, the part that eats a whole summer. Tomatoes and peppers and squash make you wait months because you are asking them to build a whole plant and then set fruit on top of it. Everything on this list skips that. You are just growing leaves and roots, the fast part, and you are picking them young while they are tender. Think of it like the difference between baking a loaf of bread and toasting a slice. Same wheat, wildly different timeline. Every crop I am about to hand you is the toast version. So grab whatever pot is drying in your sink and let's plant something you can actually eat this month. Before we start, here is the whole shopping list, and it is short. You want a container with a drainage hole, a bag of basic potting mix, a packet of seeds, and a sunny windowsill or spot outside that catches a few hours of light. That is it. No special soil, no fertilizer schedule, no fancy grow lights unless you want them. If you have ever saved a yogurt tub or a takeout tray, you already own half the equipment. Poke a few holes in the bottom for water to escape, and you have a planter. The cheapness is the point here, because a failed pot of cress cost you $1 and a shrug, not a wasted summer. Number 1 is the radish, and it earns the top spot because it is the loudest proof that fast is real. Round salad radishes like cherry belle or French breakfast go from seed to crunchy root in around 30 days. And some of the little ones are pushing their red shoulders out of the soil even sooner. All they need is a pot at least 6 inches deep so the root has somewhere to swell. Fill it with regular potting mix, poke seeds in about ½ inch down and 1 inch apart, water and set it where it gets sun for a good chunk of the day. The one mistake people make is crowding them. A radish with no elbow room grows all top and no bottom, so thin the seedlings early even though it feels wasteful. Pinch out the weakest ones so each survivor has a thumb width of space, and the roots will bulk up instead of fighting each other. Keep the soil evenly damp too, because a radish that dries out and then gets flooded tends to split. To harvest, just grab the leaves and pull. If the shoulder looks about 1 inch across, it's ready, and if you leave it much longer, it can turn woody and sharp, so pick a little early rather than late. And if radishes feel too plain for you, the next one turns up the flavor and cuts the timeline nearly in half. Number 2 is garden cress, and this one is almost unfair how fast it is. Cress is ready to snip in about 10 days. Not 10 weeks. 10 days. It has a peppery, slightly mustardy bite that wakes up a sandwich or an egg, and it does not care about depth at all, because you are harvesting it tiny. You can grow it in a shallow tray, a takeout container with a few drainage holes, even a saucer lined with a damp paper towel if you just want to try it once. Scatter the seeds thick, keep them moist, give them light, and watch them shoot up like green stubble. There is no thinning, no fuss, no waiting for a real root system, because you are eating the seedling itself. Keep it near a bright window and turn the tray every day or two, so the little stems grow straight instead of leaning toward the light. When the little stems are 2 or 3 inches tall, take scissors and cut what you need right above the soil line. It keeps giving you a second flush if you are gentle, and a fresh handful sprinkled over soup or scrambled eggs tastes like something you would pay real money for at a market. Cress is the crop that convinces skeptics, because you plant it on a Monday and you are eating it before the next weekend. It is also the one to hand a doubtful kid or a nervous beginner, because 10 days is short enough that nobody loses interest. From the fastest, let's step up to a green with a little more body. Number 3 is mustard greens, grown as baby leaves. Full-size mustard takes a month and a half, but you are not waiting for that. Picked young, baby mustard leaves are ready in about 21 days, and they bring a bold horseradish kick that mellows the second you cook them. Raw, a few leaves will make a plain salad taste like it has an opinion. A wide, shallow pot works best here because you want surface area, not depth. Sprinkle the seeds across the top, cover them lightly, and keep the mix damp. As the leaves reach 3 or 4 inches, start cutting the outer ones and leave the little center rosette alone. That center keeps pumping out new leaves, so one sowing feeds you for a couple of weeks. This is called cut and come again, and it is the closest thing container gardening has to a free refill. You take from the outside, the plant grows from the middle, and you keep circling back to the same pot. Harvest in the cool of the morning, and the leaves come off crisp rather than limp. If you like that idea of one planting feeding you again and again, the next crop is built entirely around it. Number 4 is pea shoots, and these are the crop that feels like a magic trick. You take dried peas, the ordinary kind you could buy for soup, soak them overnight so they wake up, then crowd them shoulder to shoulder across a tray of soil. In about 2 to 3 weeks, you have a thick mat of curly green shoots that taste exactly like fresh sweet peas, tendrils and all. According to Grow Sow Greener, pea shoots are typically ready between 9 and 14 days in a tray, so you barely have time to forget about them. There is no spacing to worry about because you want them packed tight, and the seeds are big enough that even clumsy hands can plant them one by one. Cut them with scissors when they are 4 or 5 inches tall, right above the lowest leaves, and many trays will push out a smaller second harvest after that. They are wonderful raw in a salad, but they also hold up thrown into a stir-fry at the very end, keeping a little of that sweet crunch. Pea shoots are the ones that get kids to eat a salad because they are sweet and fun and grow so fast you can practically watch them stretch. Now let's slow down just a touch for a classic that everyone recognizes. We are almost halfway through the list, and if you are already eyeing an empty pot on the windowsill, that instinct is exactly right, so keep it handy for what's coming. Number 5 is baby spinach, the leaf that turns a container into a real meal. Full spinach can be fussy, but baby leaf spinach picked young is ready in roughly 25 to 35 days, and it is milder and more tender than the bagged stuff from the store. Spinach likes cooler conditions, so this is a spring or fall crop, or a shady spot crop if your patio runs hot. It germinates poorly in warm soil, so keep the pot out of blazing afternoon heat until it's... And if your kitchen counter is cooler than your porch, start it inside for the first few days. Use a container about 6 inches deep, sow the seeds a couple of inches apart, and keep the soil consistently moist. Harvest the outer leaves once they are the size of your palm, and let the inner ones keep growing. A single pot of baby spinach can carry you through weeks of smoothies and sandwiches if you pick a little at a time instead of stripping it bare. And because you are eating it young, you skip the tough stems and the bitter edge that older spinach gets. If you want that same tender leaf but a lot faster, meet its overachieving cousin. Number 6 is tatsoi, a spoon-shaped Asian green that looks like it belongs on a fancy plate but grows like a weed in a bucket. Baby tatsoi leaves are ready in about 21 to 30 days, and they have a soft, mild, almost buttery flavor with none of the bitterness people fear from greens. It forms a low rosette of dark green spoons, which makes it perfect for a wide, shallow container where it can spread out flat. Sow it, keep it damp, keep it in decent light, and start picking the outer spoons as they size up. Almanac lists tatsoi among the fast growers for exactly this reason. It shrugs off cool weather better than almost anything, so it is a champion for early spring and late fall when you think the season is done. A light frost will not kill it, and some growers swear the cold actually makes it sweeter. Toss a handful into a hot soup at the last second, and it wilts into something silky. And speaking of greens that laugh at the calendar, the next one is even fastier. Number 7 is Mizuna, the feathery Japanese green with the jagged fringed leaves. Baby leaf Mizuna is ready in about 20 to 25 days, and it carries a light, fresh, barely there mustard flavor that plays nicely in any salad mix. Gardener's Path notes that Mizuna grows fast enough for a baby harvest in as little as 3 weeks. It is genuinely one of the easiest greens to keep alive, because it tolerates crowding, cool nights, and the occasional mist watering without sulking. If you have ever gone away for a weekend and come home to a sad drooping pot, Mizuna is the one that usually forgives you. Grow it in any container with drainage, snip the outer leaves with scissors, and it comes back for a second and third round. The leaves are pretty enough that a small pot of it doubles as a windowsill plant you can eat. If you have ever killed a houseplant and lost your nerve, Mizuna is the crop that rebuilds your confidence. From feathery and forgiving, let's move to something a little more substantial you can actually stir-fry. Number 8 is baby bok choy, and this is the one that makes people realize container gardening is not just salad. Full bok choy takes about 45 days, but the baby varieties are ready in around 30, and you can pick them even younger for a tender bite. It gives you crisp white stems and dark leaves, The whole little head, good for a quick stir-fry or a bowl of soup. Bok choy likes cooler temperatures, roughly the range you would keep a house comfortable in, so avoid planting it into peak summer heat where it tends to bolt and shoot up a flower stalk instead of a head. Grow it in a pot at least 6 inches deep, thin the seedlings so each has room to form a head, and keep the water steady because a thirsty bok choy is the one most likely to bolt early. Harvest the entire plant by cutting it at the base once it is palm-sized. One pot can hold several little heads, which means dinner from a container that started as bare soil a month ago. Halve them, sear the cut side in a hot pan, and you have a side dish nobody would guess came off your balcony. And for the grand finale, we go smaller and faster than everything before it. Number 9 is a microgreens medley, and this is where the whole speed idea reaches its peak. Microgreens are just any of these vegetables harvested at the baby stage, days after they sprout, when the flavor is concentrated and the plant is a tiny green thread. A mix of broccoli and sunflower is a great starter blend. Broccoli microgreens are ready in about 8 to 10 days, and sunflower shoots in about 10 to 12. You do not even need deep soil. A tray an inch or 2 deep is plenty, because these never grow up. Scatter the seeds thick, mist them, cover the tray for a few days to hold moisture and keep them dark, then uncover and give them light, and watch them green up almost overnight. Watering from the bottom, by pouring into a saucer under the tray, keeps the delicate stems from flopping and molding. When the first true leaves appear, take scissors and cut the whole carpet right above the soil. You get crunchy sunflower shoots and a mild broccoli bite that tastes fresh and green, grown start to finish inside a week and a half. It is the fastest homegrown food most people will ever eat, and once you see how simple it is, you tend to keep a tray going year-round on the counter. So look at what you actually have here. 9 crops, and not one of them asks you for a yard, a raised bed, or a spring you already let slip by. The radish gives you a root in a month. The cress and the microgreens hand you food in 10 days. The pea shoots, the baby spinach, the tatsoi, the mizuna, the mustard, and the baby bok choy fill in everything between, each one landing on your plate in 3 or 4 weeks. Stagger them, plant a little of 2 or 3 every week, and you can keep something ready to pick from now until the cold really sets in. Half of them will even come back for a second cutting, so a single handful of seeds stretches a lot further than it looks. The excuse that it's too late does not survive contact with a single one of them. The hardest part was never the growing. It was believing that the timeline was short enough to be worth starting. Now you know it is. 1 pot, a handful seeds, a sunny spot, and about 4 weeks. Pick the crop that made your mouth water and plant it this week, because the only season you actually miss is the one you talk yourself out of. If you want more small space, fast reward gardening like this, stick around the channel, because there is plenty more where this came from.